So guys, here we back again. I'm Mathew Javier, student of BSIT 2105. Now we're going to make a video about Chapter 6 Summary Network Layer. So guys, network layer, mm, it composed of some it composed of what are the our objectives from it. So in this chapter, you will able to explain how network layers, protocols, and services support communication across data networks. You can also explain how routers enable end-to-end connectivity in a small, medium-sized business network. The next one is determine the appropriate device to route traffic in a small to medium-sized business network. And configure a router with basic configurations. So the under or in the chapter 6 you will see the topics. So first in point 1, network layer protocols. In point 2, routing. Point 3 is the router. Sa point 4 is configuring a Cisco router, and 5 is the summary. So first, network layer. So in our network layer or OSM layer 3 provides service that allow end devices to exchange data across the network to accomplish to end-to-end transport. The network layer used for basic process. First is addressing end device. Second is encapsulation. Third is routing. And fourth is the encapsulation. So the next one is the common network layer protocols that will include the IPv4 and IPv6. So I'm just going back before we do the summary, checking all the things or saying all the things that in everywhere of which is under chapter 6 network layer. So IP components, what are IP connectionless, the IP media independent. So encapsulating IP, so guys, transport layer encapsulation and network layer encapsulation. So guys, the network layer adds a header so paths can be routed through complex network and reach their destination in TCP IP based network. The network layer PDU is the IP packet. So the IPv4 packet header, the IPv4 header fields, sample of IPv4 headers. So there are also limitations of IPv4. First is IP address depletion, internet routing table expansion, and lack of end-to-end connectivity. So guys, now we're going to some background of IPv6. So it increased IP address space, improved packet handling, eliminates the need of NAT, and integrate security. So guys, it have 4 billion IPv4 address and 4 million 4 billion rather. So it has 340 decillion. So imagine how big is that. And IP address, so many zeros. So encapsulating IPv6 and IPv6 as a header. So now we're going to the routing, host packet forwarding decision, so and a default gateway. So a default gateway, guys, is the host must maintain their local routing table to ensure that layer network packets are dictated to the correct destination. So network, the local table of the host typically contains direct connection, local network route, local default route. So there are, guys, IPv4 host running routing table, So router packet forwarding decisions again. So now we're going to do in 6.3 routers. So in routers, guys, routers, they explain the physical layer of routers, memory, what is inside of router. So inside of router is first the power supply, second is shield for WIC, third is the fan, SDRAM, NVRAM, and CPU, and last but not least is what we call AIM, Advanced Integration Module, and the backplane of how to connect a router. LAN and WAN interfaces also is shown in the figure. So what is an Cisco IOS? Operational details vary on different internetworking device depending on the device purpose and feature set. However, Cisco IOS for routers provides the following. First is addressing, second is interface, third is routing, security and quality of service, and resources and management. So there are boot set file, router, boot up process. So now we are in the configuring a Cisco router. So now guys, we're so close to the summary. So I hope it is okay for you to go back before we go to the summary, because it has been easy way to recall what you learned before the summary. So they are configuring and verify interface configuration and default gateway on a host. So default gateway on a switch also. It says that if default gateway was not configured on, response packet from it, we would say S1, would not be able to reach the administrator at 192.168.1110. The administrator would not be able to manage the device. So guys, and after all of that, we're going to the summary. So guys, in this chapter, you'll learn that the network layer or OSI layer 3 provides services to allow end devices to exchange data across the network. So the network layer uses four basic process: IP addressing for end-to-end devices, encapsulation and routing and de-encapsulation. So the internet is largely based on IPv4, which is still the most widely used network layer protocol. So guys, an IPv4 package contains the IP header and the payload. And the IPv6 simplified header offer several advantages over IPv4, including better routing efficiency, simplified extensions, headers, and capability for per-flow processing. So, in addition, in summary, to a hierarchical addressing, the network layer is also responsible for routing. Hosts require a local routing table to ensure that packets are directed to the correct destination network. The local route the local default route is the route to the default gateway. The default gateway is the IP address of router interface connected to the local network. And when a router such as default gateway receives a packet, it examines the destination IP address to determine the destination network. So another summary that we're going to talk about is, in this chapter, the routing table of a router stores info about direct connected routes and remote routes to IP networks. If the router has an entry in its routing table for the destination network, the router forwards the packet. If no routing entry exists, the router may forward the packet to its own default route. If one is configured or it will drop the packet. Routing table entries can be configured manually on each router to provide static routing, or the routers may communicate route info for dynamically between each other using a routing protocol. So for routers to be reachable, the router must be interface must be configured. And that is all, guys, for this chapter 6 network layer summary. I hope you learned more, and thank you.